Hello, welcome to this course on how to build a chatbot from scratch. This course is for all who have interest in machine learning and natural language processing. Let's start the course. What this course contains what is a chatbot, need of chatbot, how the chatbot works, library and packages used to make a chatbot, NLP techniques, natural language processing, and approach to generate a responsive chatbot, and finally we'll implement all this in a Jupyter notebook. Conversational agents are one of the most exciting and in-demand topics in tech. In today's world, we have smart AI-powered chatbots that uses natural language processing to understand human command. Think about the Apple Siri and Amazon Alexa. Are not these wonderful? You might have heard about the Duolingo app. It's a popular language learning app. It's quite popular due to its innovative style. They have native chatbot within its app to help users learn conversational skill. Now let's see the definition of a chatbot. Chatbots are the software applications that use artificial intelligence and natural language processing to understand what a human wants and guide them to their desired outcome. Now, why do we actually need a chatbot in industry? First, automated customer support for similar queries. For any industry type, if you take account the user base, there are some basic questions that users generally ask. And for this specific question, same specific answers are required to be answered every time this customer makes a similar query. Well, for such purpose, chatbot is the best engaging way to answer this common question. Second point, it saves human resources for a qualitative task. Chatbot can be used to assist user or customer for a specific task whenever they want. Third point, improves the business branding with a minimum effort. Now the competition is really getting high and customers get inclined toward a solution that does not require much trouble and at the same time offers an unlimited solution. In short, they are looking for the more qualitative solution in minimum effort. Now, chatbot development cost is quite cheap. It requires less development cost in comparison to the application development. Well, making an investment into a quality product like chatbot is worth as it can offer experience to your customer. Now, chatbots are not bound by the limitation like the human agent. For instance, human agents are capable of handling a limited conversation, whereas chatbot operate beyond the limit. Next point, better user interaction. Chatbot provides a better interaction with the user. As far as business is concerned, bots are the best tool for keeping users on specific platform longer and engage them by initiating and maintaining the conversation. Chatbot allow easy communication. Chatbot is easy to use. It allows easy communication. Now last, cost effective and time efficient. Chatbot is a cost effective and time efficient. Suppose you have your own website on a blogging. Once you get the traffic to your website with a proper use of chatbot, engaging visitors becomes quite easy and quick. In the next video, we will talk about how the chatbot works and other topic. Thank you. Hello, welcome to this course on how to build a chatbot with Python. In previous video, we have seen what is a chatbot and why do we actually need a chatbot in industry. In this, we will see how the chatbot works and we will briefly discuss about library and packages before implementing them. Let us see how the chatbot works. Well, there are two types of chatbot, rule-based chatbots and the self-learning chatbots. Self-learning chatbots are further divided into two types, generative bot and the retrieval-based bot. Let us discuss about each type. First, rule-based chatbot. Rule-based chatbot are also referred to as a decision tree bots As the name suggests, it uses a series of defined rules. These rules are the basis for the type of problem the chatbot is familiar with and can deliver a solution for. Third point, like a flowchart, rule-based chatbot map out a conversation. Actually, they do this in anticipation of what a customer might ask and how the chatbot should respond. They cannot, however, answer any question outside of the defined rules. It is a drawback of the rule-based chatbots. Now, let us discuss about the self-learning chatbots. Self-learning bots are the type of chatbot which will make use of machine learning to basically understand what you are trying to tell as a user. Now see types of a self-learning chatbot. First, generative chatbot. This is actually based on the sequence-to-sequence neural network. Sequence-to-sequence neural network was initially released for the machine translation, but now it has also proved to be quite effective when it comes to building a generative chatbot. These chatbots are not built with a predefined response. Instead, they are trained using a large number of conversations based upon which response to the user are generated. Now next, retrieval based bot. It is the most common type of a chatbot. Retrieval based bots works on the principle of the directed flow or graphs. It means that the bot is trained to rank the best response from the finite set of the predefined response. The response are entered manually or based on a knowledge base of the pre-existing transformation. Well, we have seen what are the types of chatbot, but while making a self-learning chatbot, it is important that to apply a technology in the appropriate context to make sure we are delivering to the end user. We can apply mixed model that takes best of the both the retrieval based and the generative model. The generative model will primarily help us improve small talk capabilities like chit chat and banter that a user might want to indulge in with the bot. And we will use a retrieval based system to resolve support query and to provide them with the information. Now let us see how the chatbot works through a chatbot chart. Suppose you are dealing with a chatbot. There is a quick chance that you are talking through a messenger website or you are probably using a mobile phone to talk with Siri. As a user, you are giving an input and the chatbot will give you output. So whatever input you are giving as a user, it will first go to the chatbot server. Chatbot server will have a three things when you are dealing with a self-learning chatbot. It will have knowledge. Actually, it's like a book. It will first search, and rule is like an index of a book. This is where you have to look for answer. And definitely it will have a machine learning techniques which will tell to understand these rules and understand where you can apply these rules to find a context in the knowledge. All this operation requires a huge amount of data, like which can be done by reading a thousand of pages. This data can be extracted from the social media or the cloud. This is a one picture where you can understand how does a chatbot work. Now let us see about the library and packages used to make a chatbot. These are the packages and library which we'll be using to make a chatbot. First, scikit-learn. It is also known as a sklearn library. It is a free software machine learning library for Python programming language. It features a various classification, regression, and clustering, including support vector machines and the random forest. And it is designed to integrate with the Python numerical and the scientific libraries like NumPy. Next, IO module. The Python IO module allows us to manage the file-related input and output operation. The advantage of using this module is that the classes and function available allow us to extend the functionality to enable writing to the Unicode data. Now next, string module. String module contains a number of functions to process a standard Python strings. The module also contains a number of functions that convert strings to the other type. The next is a random. We'll also use a random module The main purpose of the random module is to generate a random numbers. When we will implement this in a Jupyter notebook, you will come to know about all this thoroughly. And if you don't have a hands-on practice on the scikit-learn, I'll suggest you to go through the articles which I have uploaded in the folder. Now let us discuss about the NLP and how text preprocessing is done. Well, first discuss about the types of dataset, structured and unstructured dataset. First, structured dataset. It is a type of dataset which has a fixed dimension, fixed number of rows and columns. It contains information in a well-defined form. Generally, it is presented in a tabular form. Example, a table containing information of all passengers. The other form of a dataset is an unstructured dataset, which does not have any fixed dimension. It can take any form. This type of a dataset contains audio, video, images, text. For example, consider a dataset containing images of two different animals or a video of a traffic on a road. These data are type of a unstructured dataset. When it is processed by a machine, it is either converted into bit or bytes, and human cannot understand. Information present in an unstructured dataset cannot be represented in a tabular format. Now, let us discuss about a special type of a unstructured dataset, text dataset, which we will use in making a chatbot. We will use a Wikipedia article of a photovoltaic as a dataset, and the chatbot will respond to all queries related to the photovoltaic. Let us discuss about the text dataset. Examples of a text dataset is a social media tweets, post, comment, article or blog. A text data is any written form of a language such as English, Japanese. It consists of a word, characters together arranged in a meaningful manner. Now we have discussed what is a text data. Let us discuss about the NLP. NLP. NLP or natural language processing is a branch of data science which deals with the delivering useful information from a text. It contains several techniques and processes which are used to analyze understand data for a business problem. There is a term applied NLP which means the use of NLP for designing and developing application or system in which there exists an interaction between the machine and the natural languages. Different example of a use case other than making a chatbot like improve a smartphone sales from a feedback of a customer or another example can be automatic categorization of a customer query. Now let us see first step of the natural language processing, which is a text preprocessing. First discuss about the corpus, token, n-grams. Corpus is defined as a collection of a text document, for example a data set containing a news. So basically a corpus consists of a document and document consists of a paragraph and the paragraph consists of a sentences and the sentences consist of a tokens. So token is a smaller unit of a text document. It can be word, phrases and n-grams. N-grams is a combination of a n word together. Like in this example, I love my India. These all are separated by a comma and only one word is together. So it is a unigram. And in next example, two words are together. I love my India. So it is a bigram. Let us discuss about the process of tokenization. It is a process of splitting a text object into a smaller unit which are known as a tokens. This smaller unit can be word, numbers, symbol, n-gram characters. Most commonly used here tokenization is a whitespace tokenizer. In this, text is converted into a words by splitting from a whitespace. Like the following sentence is converted into a n tokens and the bridegroom is not splitted further because there was a hyphen between them, not a white space. Another type of a tokenizer is a regular expression tokenizer. It uses a re dot split to split text. Next technique is a normalization. First see what a structure of a token. The structure of a token basically consists of a prefix, morpheme, which is a base of a word, and a suffix. Normalization is a process of converting a token into its base form. In normalization, the inflectional form are removed so the base form can be obtained. It is helpful in reducing data dimensionality and removing the variation and redundant information. Now let us discuss about the types of a normalization. Two popular methods of a normalization are the stemming and lemmatization. For stemming, it is an elementary rule-based process for removing inflectional forms from a token, and output will be a stem of a word like played, play. All will become play because it is a stem of a word. It may give sometime a non-meaningful terms. Like in case of running, it will give RUNN, which is not a meaningful. Another method for the another method for the normalization is a lemmatization. It is a systematic process of a reducing a token to a base or a dictionary form of a word called lemma. It makes uses of a vocabulary, word structure, part of speech tag, and grammar relation. The output of this process will be a lemma base word like ate, eaten, it's all will become it. It work only if a word has a proper parts of speech tag. Let's discuss about some structure and syntax related properties of a text like part of speech tag and the grammar parsing. Part of speech tags defines the syntactic context and the role of a word in a sentence. Commonly, part of speech tags are noun, verb, adverbs, adjectives. Noun defines the object or entities, verbs defines the action, and adverbs and adjectives act as a modifier and a quantifier in a sentence. They are defined by their relationship with the adjacent word. Machine learning and the rule based models are applied to obtain the part of speech tag of a word, and it uses in a text cleaning and the feature engineering task. Now, next is a grammar parsing. It is a process of determining the syntactic structure of a text by analyzing its constituent word based on an underlying grammar. See in a picture, each line indicates a rule of a grammar to be uh, applied to an example sentence like Tom ate an apple. So then the outcome of the parsing process would be like a parse tree where the sentence is a root and intermediate nodes such as a noun phrase and wave phrase etc. have a children, and hence they are non-terminal. And finally the leaves of the tree Tom ate an apple are called the terminals. After the pre-processing of a dataset, we need to transform the text into a meaningful vector or an arrays of a number. So the bag of a word is a representation of a text that describes the occurrence of the word within a document. It involves a vocabulary of a known word and a measure of the presence of a known word. And it is called a bag of words because any information about the order or structure of words in the document discarded, and it is only concerned with the whether the known word occur in the document. Suppose our dictionary contained all these words, it was the best time was with Ram. So it can be vectorized in 11111011 since it appeared only one times and was appeared only one times and the appears only one time, best appeared only one time and time appeared only one time and was does not appear. So it contains a zero. So now next a bag of word may not contain as much informational content. It will give more weight to a longer document. So we have another approach. First, count vectorizer. It works on the term frequency like counting the occurrence of a token and building a sparse matrix of a document. It is a number of a times a term appear in the document. The purpose of a TF-IDF approach is to rescale the frequency of a word by how often they appear in all documents. TF stands for the term frequency, and it is equal to the number of times T appear in a document upon total number of terms in the document. And another inverse document frequency IDF is a scoring of how rate the word is across the document. It is equal to the log of total number of documents upon the total number of documents with the term T in it. And now the TF-IDF score is equal to the TF into IDF. TF-IDF weight is a measure used to evaluate how a word is to a document in a collection or a corpus. Now let us discuss about the another NLP techniques, cosine similarity. Since a TF-IDF is a transformation applied to a text to get a two real valued vectors in a vector space. Cosine similarity is a measure of a similarity between a two non-zero vectors. It is equal to the dot product of the two vectors dividing by their product of their norms. Now let us implement all these techniques in a Jupyter notebook to build a chatbot. First, make sure that you have installed an Anaconda distributor and then open the Jupyter notebook. First, load the dataset to the Jupyter notebook by clicking on upload and then select the file. Now open a new file and start building a chatbot. First step is to install NLTK by the pip install NLTK. NLTK stands for the Natural Language Toolkit. And import all the required necessary libraries. Import NLTK, IO, NumPy, random, string. I have taken a Wikipedia article of a photovoltaic as a corpus. Copy the content from the Wikipedia page and place it in a text file. You can use a corpus of your choice. You can take anything, blog, articles. Now next step is to open and read the dataset. After reading and After reading, convert all into the lowercase and import the WordNet lematizer from the nltk.stim and download the Puncti and the WordNet. Puncti is used for the sentence tokenizer and the WordNet is a large lexical database of English. And the next step is to convert it into a list of sentence by a sentence tokenizer and then convert it into a list of word by a word tokenizer. After that, see what all contains in a sentence tokenizer and the word tokenizer by checking in a first few rows. After I have defined a function called lem tokens which will take input as a token and return a normalized token. That is all the inflectional form is removed. Next step is for the keyword matching. We shall define a function for a greeting by a bot. Like if user input is a greeting, the chatbot will return a greeting response. We have defined a greeting function for that. And now next step is to generate a response by a TF-IDF approach. We are using a TF-IDF approach to generate a response. Import the TF-IDF vectorizer from the sklearn.feature extraction and a cosine similarity from the sklearn.matrix.pairwise. Cosine similarity is a part where you will be checking out and teaching a chatbot how to find the similarity and behavior difference between the document present and a user types. Now we'll define a function response which search the user utterance for one or more known keywords and return one of the several response. And if it doesn't understand, it will say I don't understand you. And in and finally we will feed the lines that we want our bot to say while starting and ending the conversation. I'll first restart and run all the cell and check whether my bot is working or not. I'll type enter. It is responding and now ask what is photovoltaic. Yes, he has given the answer. Now our chatbot is working, and if you want to build a GUI of a chatbot, I'll upload the file in a folder so you can go through that and practice it. Thank you.